A quite unusual situation occurred last week. A total of 3 spacewalks were conducted in 3 days. They took place on both permanently inhabited space stations, and all of them were unrelated to each other. It all started on November 15th, when 2 Americans exited from the Quest airlock module on the ISS. Both Josh Cassada and Francisco Rubio were in vacuum of space for the first time in their careers. It was also the first American spacewalk since March of this year. That was when water appeared inside a helmet of European astronaut Matthias Maurer. It seems that the issue has been solved, so astronauts may proceed with work outside of the space station. Cassada and Rubio were busy with installation of a mount for a new photovoltaic panel. The reason is that the International Space Station, and its electric systems in particular, has been gradually modernized over the years. The newly installed mount will serve for attachment of the iROSA rollable photovoltaic panel. The total time spent on this spacewalk was 7 hours and 11 minutes. On November 17th, an airlock hatch of the Wenqian module at China's Tiangong station opened. Chen Tung and Cai-Su Che ventured outside ready to work on several tasks planned for them. First of all, in order to support their work, the robotic arms of the Tianhe and Wenqian modules were connected. The result was a manipulator almost 15 meters in length. With its help, the astronauts were able to reach to all the necessary places on station's surface. The main task of the spacewalk was an installation of connecting bridges between the Tianhe core module and the Mengtian and Wenqian laboratory modules. These elements will not only strengthen the connection of the modules, but they will also contain rails for support of Chinese astronauts during their future spacewalks. Chen Tong was conducting a spacewalk for the 3rd time, whereas his colleague Cai-Su Che for the 2nd time. They spent 5 hours and 34 minutes outside their station. Finally, 2 Russians conducted their spacewalk on November 17th. Sergei Prokopyev and Dmitry Petelin used an airlock on the Poisk module. Sergei Prokopyev was conducting a spacewalk for the 3rd time, whereas his colleague Dmitry Petelin for the 1st time. The 2 men headed to the Rassvet module, where a small airlock and a cooling radiator have been stored since 2010. Both parts are intended for the Nauka module, which docked with the station last year after many years' delay. The 2 astronauts took care of preparation of both the radiator and the airlock for upcoming spacewalks, during which they will be transferred to and installed on the Nauka module. For example, there was an adapter which had to be installed on the airlock in order for the ERA, or European Robotic Arm, to be able to capture it. Then there was a need to depressurize a cooling circuit of the radiator. Other tasks included an installation of a system allowing attachment of large objects to the surface of the Nauka module. The Russian spacewalk was finished after 6 hours and 25 minutes. On November 18th, an Indian Skyroot Aerospace company conducted a flight test of its Vikram S suborbital rocket. The Prarambh mission was India's first rocket launch operated by a private company. Skyroot Aerospace is going to develop more powerful Vikram launchers that should be able to reach orbit. On November 15th, Long March 4C rocket with Yalgan 3403 satellite intended for remote sensing operations, launched from the Huchuan Satellite Launch Center. On November 16th, Series 1 rocket with 5 remote sensing satellites launched from the same cosmodrome. Thank you for watching the next episode of Spaceflight News. Let me remind you that our channel is also on Twitter, so go ahead and follow it. You can find the link in the description below.